Hi,
Yeah.
Sandra.
Hello, hello. Excited
Hello.
to be live on YouTube.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. You guys, I have my friend Sandra here, who is I'm really so excited to have Sandra, okay, because her and I have met through a community that we are both in, and we both vibe on being plant-based and having a yoga background and really wanting to empower women to live their best lives. And so the thing about Sandra is that after going plant-based, everything became more spiritual for her. She developed more compassion towards humans and animals, and she was able to be a clear vessel to hear her intuition better. And that's really what we're talking about today. For Sandra, being vegan offered her more energy, more vitality, a healthy weight loss, and she's an athlete. And so after, she felt like she could run better and have a better recovery time. She let go of asthma medication that she was on for many years. She won a bikini competition, or she was in a bikini competition at 51, and it allowed her to learn about foods that she hadn't known about before. And what we're going to invite into the conversation today is kind of like how being vegan supports our spiritual connection, and how, if you're not vegan and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be vegan, I could never let go of cheese, or I get it. Okay, I used to be the person who would say that I can never be vegan because I love cheese. And so
Me
it's
too.
not about that. Yeah, you too. Okay. So we're just going to normalize the experience of eating plant-based and what that can look like and how you can ease into it. Um, what's easy about it. So welcome to the Be Happy Now show, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for that amazing intro. I am so excited and happy and honored to be here to talk about, how everything happened for me and how wonderful it's been in this stage of my life.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is the thing that is the most fun about about being vegan and going plant-based for you? The most enjoyable thing about it for you, what is it?
I have to say, really, going plant-based really opened me up to so many new foods that I had never experienced before, from different types of vegetables, different types of greens, different types of tropical fruits, because growing up, sometimes in our families, we eat certain foods, consistently over and over, right? The staples, for me growing up as a Latina, it was rice and beans and then your meat, the protein, whatever that may be. And so we kind of stayed in that and had the basic salad. And it really wasn't until I went plant-based and decided this was the lifestyle I wanted to live is when I really started exploring. And it was really fun. Like it's like some people don't enjoy shopping. Like I love going to the produce section and saying, okay, what is something new that I can try? Like I love going shopping because I'm curious, I'm curious to see what else is out there, what else I can try. Things like jackfruit that I had never eaten before. I'm like, what is jackfruit? That you can not only eat it as a fruit, but you can also cook with it. So that has been really exciting for me. Just branching out into all these different amazing foods that are available, that are just so good for us too. Not only taste good, but are good for you.
Thank you. It's so funny you say that because I also love to go to the grocery store.
I
I
love it. It's like
to
my
hang
favorite
out in
thing.
the section, and you can find out so many new things. Like there's these new products that come on the shelves often, and in the produce section, indeed, I learned about this vegetable the other day, a swede.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
I think it's a Kiwi thing. I think the
Okay.
New Zealanders call it what in French I would call a navet, which now for the sake of me, I don't know the other word, but so we learn all the time. And I'm curious. So, P.S., if you're watching this and you're like, where are you? I am sitting outside at a park. I'm hanging out with the ducks. And I thought, this can still work. So I'm really glad that you are playing with it and rolling with it with
It's
me.
working. It's working.
Sandra, how does being vegan support being spiritual and having a spiritual connection to like this deep meaning, this purpose, this knowing of who you really are?
When I had never planned on going plant-based or vegan, it presented itself to me in a way of a challenge, a 21-day challenge. And I didn't know anything about this lifestyle. And in actuality, I was, at a point in my life where I needed some change. I had just came out of a 21-year marriage that ended. And I was really like, what's next for me? And diving into this challenge and seeing how I felt at the end of it was like just so much evidence about how I just felt really good. And I had no idea that it was going to change my life, radically change my life, because, like I said, there was no plan for me. I didn't know what this meant to be vegan or plant-based, vegetarian. I knew a little bit about vegetarians, but not much about veganism. And it wasn't until, I did this challenge, I completed it, I felt fabulous. I was, like you had mentioned in the intro, I've been an athlete most of my adult life, and I was just able to get back in there and continue doing my workouts and running and doing competitions. And I loved it. And I just felt really great. That was the physical side of it, but the emotional and the spiritual side, as I started eating cleaner, and I really went all the way in when I'm kind of an all or nothing type girl. I'm either in and I'm all in. I was really strict at first. I was like really eating a lot of raw, not a lot of grains. Of course, I had cut out all of, the cheese, which is one thing I thought, oh, how could I ever do that? And it's possible, because as you start changing your palate, as you start eating cleaner foods, your body starts to change too. Your palate changes, your mind becomes with more clarity. That's how it was for me. I felt like before this lifestyle, I was kind of going through the motions, living life, watching the news, TV, eating the standard American diet, eating, not that I was a terrible eater, but yeah, I would have those fast food things here and there. But not realizing what I was really nourishing my body with: a lot of processed foods, things from boxes, not really seeing or choosing quality food, let's put it that way. And then when I went through this challenge and learned so much about the lifestyle, and I really started to eat really clean and read the labels, it was weird. It was like something just switched in my mind. It was like this, like the epiphany that you have, like, wait a minute, everything is not as it seems, or what I may see on TV, or what I may see in the stores, or how things are marketed, are not always as they seem. That was kind of like what was in my head, and I really started to dive deeper, and that's where my spiritual journey really began. And I really started looking inward, because I've had that the clarity of, eating cleaner in my diet, and just really seeing things for what they were. And that's when I really started reading more and started going to yoga, doing more meditation. And it really just helped me to see the world differently, and that everything is not always as it seemed. And that's where kind of my journey began. And really
Mm,
a lot of, deep inner work as well, so that I can really show up in my most authentic self, and going through
yeah.
leadership programs. So I really feel that if it hadn't been for cleaning up my diet and really, being mindful of what I was choosing to nourish my body with, is where it really all started changing, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Thank you. And this brings me to something you had shared with me when we originally wanted to have this conversation. You used the
Mhm.
word self-compassion. And when I hear you talk about reading the labels, I know for myself that reading the labels has become part of my habits. Every time I pick something up, if there is, if it's wrapped or if it's in a box, I want to know what's in there. I want to know what I'm eating. And that to me is a deep, nourishing an act of self-love and of self-compassion, right? So yes, for the whole line of ingredients, like the actual people who put these together, maybe the animals that may have given a part of their soul to provide that for humans. And I want to know what's in my food before I take it in. So
Right.
what's it like for you in terms, do you want to say a little something about that self-compassion piece?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that this is the only body that I have to live in, and I want to, be on this earth and thrive for as long as I can. And when I say thrive, of course, having that self-compassion that what I choose to eat, right? That I choose to eat these foods because I want to feed this vessel, feed this body the best that I can, right? I want to live as long as I can, as long as I'm living this vibrant life, right? I don't want to live to be in a nursing home where somebody's going to be having to take care of me, or if I'm in a wheelchair, right? I want to know that I've done everything that I can to nourish my body and give myself the self-care with the food, right? With sleeping well, with, giving myself the downtime that I may need when I've been on the go for so long, right? And like you said, with reading the labels, there are times where I have family members or friends and they're like, oh, you can't eat that or you can't eat this. And I'm like, it's not that I can't, it's that I choose not to. I choose not to have those things because I don't want to eat these foods because of whatever the ingredients may have in it. Or, it's not that I can't eat cheese and I can't eat meat. I just choose not to. At this stage in my life, I choose not to. And it's been
Yeah.
servicing me really well. And I felt really great because I was able to wean myself off of medications that I was taking for many years that were not even helping me. I was still feeling those symptoms. And when I really started cleaning up, what I was eating, along with all these other things too, because I feel that food is the foundation, right? It's the beginning of where we start to make those choices. And then it spills into into other areas of our life, like movement, like sleep, right? Drinking enough water, reading good things, being around good people, having good energy, right? It's like it's all part of it. But the food really for me is where it all started, is where I started to get that clarity. And just continue to do that, continue with, learning more and, constantly seeing what are some other things that I can do to nourish me.
Yeah, I thank you so much. And what's easy about it, because the part of what you were saying lit a light bulb in me. I remember someone saying, so you can have your special food and we'll do our meal. And I chuckled inside and I thought, my special food? What do you mean my special food? I'm glad to see it as special because it is nourishing. And there can have this, sorry about the background noise, there can have or be there this misconception that eating plant-based means you eat nothing or you eat boring or you eat not enough protein. So how easily is it and what can a plate look like
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, I really try to focus on eating the rainbow, eating a variety. I'm not so stuck on I have to have so much protein or so much of this or so much of that, right? If we focus on whole foods, right? If we focus on eating a variety, we're going to be getting enough protein because that's one of the questions that comes up a lot. It's like, how do you get your protein? Well, there's really protein in almost everything we eat, right? In fruits and vegetables, there's just different varying amounts of it. But if you're eating a little bit of everything, if you're eating the rainbow, if you're choosing to have, some of the healthy fats, a little bit of carbs, you've got your proteins, you're going to be fine. If you're someone who, when I was getting ready to get on stage to do a bikini competition and I was building muscle, then I was tracking my protein, right? Because I was really trying to build muscle. And we know that we need, some additional protein. Of course, plant-based protein like tofu, edamame, tempeh, those things to help really build muscle because that's what my focus was at that time. But it really gets to be easy. And what I love about plant-based eating, it's the best fast food you could ever have. Apples, bananas, peaches. I mean, there's so many things that you can easily grab and go, nuts and seeds, dates. I love dates. If you have a sweet tooth, have a couple of dates in a little Ziploc bag and just have a date. You got your fiber, you've got your sweet tooth, and it's good for you. So I think it's super easy. It really doesn't need to be that difficult. People say, well, what am I going to cook? You know what? Keep it simple. Keep it really simple. Focus on the vegetables, right? Have some steamed broccoli or roasted broccoli, a little bit of maybe a veggie burger. And, slowly, if you're someone who's wanting to maybe transition to a more plant-based or eating more, what I always tell everyone is, start slowly. So start switching out things. For instance, maybe you're drinking cow's milk. Maybe try a nut milk, right? And there's so many different types of nut milks. You can have cashew. You can have, what else do we have? We got oat milk out there. We've got soy milk, right? So you can maybe start by switching out the type of milk. Or instead of having a beef burger, maybe switching to trying a veggie burger or making a black bean burger, right? Just small changes to just start seeing, what is it that you like? Start exploring, because what works for one may not work for another, right? And so you get to really just explore that and keep it simple. There's no need to complicate it at all.
Mm, thank you. I love that. Starting
And taking
small
it,
is such a thing. Like it's
yeah,
important to not go from meat eating and having a lot of, cheese and dairy and just trying to cut everything out, because that's not the point. And if you're thinking like, well, why would I cut meat? Why would I cut dairy? Why would I become vegan? And this isn't for everyone, and this isn't like a converting conversation. We're here to share how it's worked, for Sandra, and how Sandra helps her clients, which I'm excited for you to share
yeah.
in a moment. And one thing that, if I may, and you could let me know how it's been for you, that if you are wondering why is it important, what has really struck me to change from meat to no meat is the fear that goes behind the process of the animal going from being alive to being a piece of meat. And the fear process of that animal, a part of me believes that if I eat that, I eat the fear.
Mm.
And so, of course, if I believe that, I might just do that. I might eat the fear. Hence, if you're like, I'm not ready to give up meat, maybe you get to connect with the animal. Maybe you get to connect with the fear and release it and practice energy healing on the food that you intake and have more conscious awareness of what's going on for you. And maybe you get to, a little bit like when we have self-compassion and we read the labels and we're thinking, okay, I'm going to be aware of what I ingest. Well, it can be the same thing energetically. And
Absolutely.
hence why like veganism kind of opens and clears our vessel. So yeah, I'd love for you to add to
Yes,
that.
Claudia, I so agree with you on that. And that's something that I never thought about before. And this is what I love about sharing this with the world, because not everybody understands that. Not everybody can really relate, that piece of meat and the animal together, right? Because when we go shopping, it's packaged and it looks differently. And so I love that you bring that up, that you get to connect with the animal and really see how that feels for you. And yes, I do believe that, especially in the factory farming that we have now and how the animals are treated, is very sad. And so, yes, that fear that's being instilled in them is also the fear that we're going to be eating when we choose to shop in the conventional supermarkets and picking up the package. But yeah, it really is all about taking it one step at a time and really figuring out why this is important for you. That's kind of one of the first things that I always tell my clients is like, why is it that you want to do this? Why is it that you want to eat more plant-based? Is it for health reasons, right? I mean, there's so much scientific evidence out there that cholesterol, right? When you start eating a plant-based diet, your cholesterol levels will go down because cholesterol is found in animal products, right? In fat. So, and just slowly but surely, trying different ways to incorporate more plants into your lifestyle, right? Lower blood pressure when we eat more plant-based foods, and you start eating more of the rainbow. So it's just about finding out why that's important for you. Do you have any health issues right now that maybe you want to address? And you can start by eating more plant-based. And I like to use the term crowding out your plate versus cutting out, right? And so when we hear the word, oh, you can't do this or you can't eat that, automatically like our body's like, whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean I can't do this? Now I really want to have that. And so I like to use the term crowd out, which means add more of the maybe a bigger serving of salad than you would normally have and a smaller portion of protein, right? Or maybe adding more fibrous foods, more potatoes, or cruciferous, crowding out those things. So eventually over time, as you start eating more of those things and your palate starts to change, you're not going to have the cravings for those other things. And slowly, those things like cheese and the dairy products and the meat products will eventually maybe just fall off by the wayside because you're now eating more of these, healthier plant-based foods. What Mother Nature was really, what she's produced for us, that's just from the earth, and the one single ingredient. You can't go wrong with that, right? I mean, no matter what, whether you choose to go all the way or not, or maybe just incorporate more into your lifestyle, it's going to be helpful and it's going to be a positive effect on your health, physically, mentally, emotionally.
Thank you, Sandra. So tell us, how do you help your clients and where can we find you after this episode
Yes.
of the Be Happy Now show?
Yes, I help my clients. So I have a couple of different, I have some clients that come in and are like, don't know anything about being plant-based and they don't really know where to start. Like, how do I cook? What are some recipes? So I love helping women getting in the kitchen and teaching them how to create easy, delicious plant-based recipes in relatively 30 minutes or less, because we are busy, we're moms, we have lots going on, so that you can get in the kitchen, have something that's healthy, something that's good for you, and also doesn't take very long. Then I also work with, I have a client right now who has already been vegan. They have been vegan for quite some time, but they want to start eating maybe healthier, right? Because being vegan doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically healthy. There's a lot of unhealthy vegan products out there. We know there's processed products out there as well that may not be good for us once in a while for a quick something when you run out of time, but really wanting to just eat healthier and also mindset work, right? Wanting to achieve more things in life. I really feel that it starts with the food, with our diet, our movement, right? Being able to, once we start eating really good, our body starts to move in different ways. We have more energy, we feel more vibrant. And really, setting some goals for ourselves and being able to achieve that. Because I know for me, it's always about a challenge. I love doing challenges because that's what kind of gets me motivated, and really challenging ourselves to step out of our comfort zone and really having that support. And so, Claudia, one thing I want to say is I'm getting ready to celebrate my 10-year vegan anniversary. So May 1st will be officially 10 years. And so in celebration of my 10-year anniversary, I am going to be offering 50% off of my one-on-one coaching packages. This is a one-time deal that I'm doing in celebration of 10 years because I feel like that's a really big milestone. I'm very proud of it. I feel fantastic. I want to give back, and those who've been maybe wanting to work with me in the past, whether it's someone who's wanting to eat more plant-based, maybe they want to go vegan or needs the support, in getting their mindset right and achieving the goals and living their best life that they want to live at this stage in their life. So, I generally work with all kinds of women, mainly women in their 40s and 50s. I'm in my mid 50s. And so at this stage in our life, we still get to love ourselves and have goals and accomplish some of those things that maybe we haven't yet. And just because we're at this stage in our life doesn't mean that we can't. So I'm there to support, to motivate, to mentor, and to really help you, move along and cross that finish line for whatever that goal is for you.
That's amazing. Congratulations for your 10-year vegan anniversary.
Yeah.
Yay! I'm celebrating outside and alongside you. And
Yes.
I'm so excited to share the links with our audience here in the show notes. So look out for that. And if there is one thing you want our listeners to remember in all of this conversation about clearing their vessel to their intuition using a plant-based diet, what would it be?
Yeah, just listen to your body, be curious, have that childlike mindset, right, of being curious and trying something new and feeling into your body and seeing how that feels for you. In navigating, through this journey, because it's not something that's it's not an overnight thing. It's a journey, right? And you get to try it and feel it and see how your body feels, and trust yourself. Go in and trust yourself. And as you start doing more and changing your ways of eating and having more healthier options, you're going to feel the difference, and it's going to be a lot easier than you think. Yeah.
I love that. With curiosity, let's enter the rest of our day. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining
You're
us
welcome.
on the Be
Thank
Happy Now
you.
show. I'm sending you a big hug from New Zealand.
Oh,
Mm.
thank you. One of these days, I'd love to come and visit you there. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
it's already happening.
Yes, let's put it out there.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a great one.